Hello and welcome to Cultivated World, the channel that brings you the good stuff from the world of watches. Today we're looking at the original Tudor Black Bay 58. We'll be talking briefly about the history as well as the specifications and features. We'll also be discussing why the Tudor Black Bay 58 is possibly the best value for money watch that you can buy today. Tudor first introduced the Black Bay line in 2012 and was single-handedly responsible for putting Tudor back on the map. Influenced by dive watches from Tudor's archive, they created a contemporary watch with the spirit of dive watches from the past. The Black Bay 58 followed on from this, taking the Black Bay line into another direction. This is the reference 79030N. And was launched at Bezel World in 2018, the same year as the Tudor Black Bay GMT. The Black Bay 58 was somewhat overshadowed by the Black Bay GMT, which was riding in first class on the hype train created by the Rolex Pepsi GMT. Links to our reviews of both of these GMT watches can be found in the description below or at the top of the screen now. It took a little longer for the masses to warm up to the Black Bay 58. However, it has now overtaken the GMT and is arguably Tudor's most sought after watch. Paying tribute to Tudor's history, the Black Bay 58 gets its name from the year 1958, which is the year that Tudor Big Crown Submariner was launched and is also the year that Tudor diving watches achieved a waterproof rating of 200 meters. Taking the baton from the heritage Black Bay line, the Black Bay 58 doubles down on the homage to Tudor's vintage dive watches. The Black Bay 58 takes on a slimmer, much more svelte profile than its older sibling. Shaving off a millimeter here and a millimeter there, you wouldn't think it would make such a difference. But looking at them side by side, it's day and night. With a case width 2mm smaller at 39mm and 3mm thinner at a whisker under 12mm, you can't get much closer to the vintage dive watch feel in a contemporary watch. One of the biggest criticisms of the heritage Black Bay was its sheer mass and how it could feel top heavy on the wrist. Don't get me wrong, I love the heritage Black Bay, but with my 17cm wrists, it's not something I feel I could wear every day. The Black Bay 58 gets the balance just right, with enough wrist presence without sacrificing any of the comfort, and wears just like an old Submariner from the late 50s. The vintage tribute continues to resonate throughout the rest of the watch. Firstly, there are no crown guards around the large winding crown, which is one of the most obvious features. Easily noticeable from afar, this is clearly in honour of the Tudor Big Crown Submariner. The dial and bezel feature gilt, pink gold colour detailing reminiscent from the earliest Tudor dive watches. This, along with the red triangle marker at 12 o'clock, separates the Black Bay 58 from anything else in the Tudor range. It is a surefire way to identify the Black Bay 58 without having to get close to it and having to work out the proportions of the watch. The dial also features a creamy coloured luminescent material within the hour markers and the hands. This is evocative of watches that have been worn and loved for many years. Some don't like any kind of faux patina, but I think this is one of the very few places where it actually works well. The hands are the signature snowflake hands, which are inspired by the watches produced for the French Navy back in the 1970s. The dial is finished with pink gold Tudor logo under the 12 o'clock marker and watch specifications above the 6 o'clock marker. Overall, the pink gold works very well and gives the watch an air of warmth, which is missing from the new blue Tudor Black Bay 58. I would like to have seen the new 2020 Black Bay 58 Navy with the gilt detailing. What do you guys think? Tudor kept things simple and kept the watch dateless. In my opinion, this was a great decision, and I think the addition of a date window would have made the dial too cluttered. All of these details in combination with the matte black dial and the aluminium bezel work extremely well, and together they truly are greater than the sum of their parts. The bezel features an amazing coin edge, which is both beautiful and a bit useless. It isn't the easiest to rotate and will be an absolute nightmare to use with gloves or wet hands. But I suppose that's the trade-off for a bit of vintage chic. It does have a satisfying click though, so you do find yourself playing with it during the day. The lugs on the case have a satin brushed finish, which blends into the polished sides with beautiful beveled edges. The sleek lines would make many modern Rolex Submariner owners very envious, considering the lardy proportions of the fat maxi case that Rolex currently uses today. Let's hope Rolex puts the Submariner on a little diet for the impending new version of the Submariner. In order to accommodate the Black Bay 58, Tudor had to create a new movement to fit the smaller case. Tudor developed the COSC certified in-house caliber MT5402, which has an impressive 70-hour power reserve. When they launched this movement, Tudor stated that this would be the basis of many other watches to come in the future. Tudor gave us that abomination in 2019 and made us wait 2 years for the launch of the Tudor Black Bay 58 in navy, which is the hottest watch release of 2020 so far. But what else will Tudor launch in the future? A Black Bay 58 GMT perhaps? Let us know which Black Bay 58 Tudor should make next in the comment section below. The Black Bay 58 is available with either a bracelet, leather or fabric strap. Although the fabric strap is far from being my first choice, they are beautifully made on vintage looms and are greatly underappreciated. The first time I got to try out Tudor Black Bay 58, it was on the leather strap and I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. As you would expect, the leather is of very high quality, and going by its thickness and finish, it must be full grain leather. It was quite stiff to begin with and took a short time to break in, and now is super comfortable. It is accompanied by a metal buckle which is a joy to use and very well engineered. The leather will age well and develop its own patina, which will tie in very well with the overall vibe of the watch. By far the most popular option will be the bracelet. This is made from brushed steel with polished sides, and herein lies my biggest bugbear: the faux rivets. It's at this point where Tudor needs to err on the side of caution and was at the risk of taking the watch from being vintage cool to vintage try hard. However, with Tudor hitting every other note perfectly, I'm willing to overlook this misgiving. My recommendation would be to opt for the bracelet and then add the leather strap like I did, or the fabric strap as extra options. If you're lucky enough to have other watches in your collection, then it's nice to mix it up a bit. The Black Bay 58 is a great little package with stainless steel construction and an in-house COSC certified movement, 70 hours of power reserve and a depth rating of 200 meters, all for less than half the price of a Rolex Submariner. Add in the watch's lineage and you can't argue that this is very possibly the best bang for your buck in the watch market today. Tudor pulls from its rich history to create the Black Bay 58, amalgamating the best bits from Tudor watches from the 50s, the 60s and the 70s, which, let's face it, could have gone terribly wrong. Instead, we are at the beginning of something very special with the Black Bay 58 line, and further confirmation that Tudor has truly come to play. What do you think of the Black Bay 58? Do you prefer the original black version to the new blue 2020 release? What about the leather strap? Do you prefer it to the bracelet? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like watches as much as we do and want to see more watch content like this, please like and subscribe and remember to hit that bell icon.